No, this is so sad. There are a bunch of white Texas farmers who are losing their farms right now. Because guess what? 100% of their workforce vanished. Wow. So all those people, who got eyes caught on them, they were working on the farms. So now that they're gone, they cannot sustain the farms. You know what's crazy about this video? Because I talked about this like 2 months ago when Trump brought over all these South Afrikaners, farm people, where we find out that they were not really even farmers. And I was talking about this and found out that a few of our dear white farmers here had started losing their farms because of promises that were made to them and was not kept by this administration. So now it's trickling down to some other farmers because now their workforce, they're gone. And I was seeing somewhere where somebody came over, and it was a Caucasian man. He came over from Twitter and he was like, y'all, a lot of these farmers, white farmers, they thought that black people were going to come and work for their farms. There's a lot going on in this country right now. Us heading into possibly World War II. But this is a conversation just to kind of talk about right now that people are kind of seeing I guess what's the word? I can't even find the word, but the decisions that they made, they are coming back to hunt them. Let's just say that. So sorry to hear this, but yeah. So I do hope that some of these Native Americans that did lose their lands, that they do get back some of these farms that are being lost.
Grand rising kings and queens from Africa and across the ocean. Black people were the backbone of America. Black people are still the backbone of America. The spending power of black people, the spending dollars of black people, it is what is making America. But come to think of it, the dollar does not circulate in the black community more than 3 hours, if I'm not wrong. Why? Food for thought. Now, I will say this. Welcome back to Kenyan Beast, where we expose the truth that others hide and celebrate the power of black unity, a pan-African movement. And today I'm diving deep into a reality that has been long been ignored. Black people have been the backbone of American wealth, American culture, and survival. And now, without black Americans or black people, white America is crumbling. That is reality. White America is crumbling. Now, over the next few minutes that I'm going to talk to you, I will rant or show you how every turn of the plow, every steel beam erected, every note of music, every innovation that black labor and creativity built the nation of America. And now, before I talk about that, there's videos here. I want you to look on white farmers complaining, white people complaining, because black people have stopped working for them. Black people have stopped this and this. I want you to watch these clips first because I think it is supporting what I'm going to talk about. And after watching, let's come back and we talk more.
All right, MAGA, get out there. Where are you at? You got your jobs back. You got your jobs that were taken from you. Get out there. Get out there and start working. Get to work. America first. Get out there. 100% haven't shown up to work due to immigration raids, Texas farmer says. America's migrant workers are terrified to work, but unable to stay home. So get out there, MAGA. You got these jobs back. You took them back. You voted. You got your guy in there to get rid of all of those migrant workers. So get out there. Get out there and start working. But for real, I want to shout out to the undocumented migrant workers as they were deemed essential in 2020. They stepped up when this nation needed them most. They have my utmost respect. They should see a pathway to citizenship. Period. Period. They were deemed essential workers, risking their lives in one of the most hazardous jobs in the entire U.S. labor market. They have my full respect. Thank you for your service and your contribution to this country.
Hospitals, they sell their harvests, all sorts of vegetables, to businesses within the state of Texas. This is where you can go into your local grocery store, and now you're going to see hardly any vegetables or fruit, depending on what they're growing, or a shortage of meat. This is what's going to happen. Now, all of the other industries that support farming, you've got local pesticide, herbicide, fertilizer suppliers that are just, their sales are going to plummet. These farmers aren't going to be purchasing that. You've got H-2A workers who are now gone, migrant workers who are now gone. They were paying taxes. Even if they didn't have social security numbers, they were given tax numbers, tax ID numbers. So now you got millions of dollars just poof, gone overnight from these Texas communities. You've got trucking companies that are hired to haul the produce from the farms to the packaging plants. You've got packaging plants who wash the vegetables, grade the vegetables, pack the vegetables, whose sales are going to plummet. Now you're going to have other industries who don't employ either migrant workers or H-2A workers who are going to have layoffs. This is all under Republican leadership, not just from the White House, but from the Republicans that were elected in the state of Texas. And if you think this is going to stop at Texas, you've got another thing coming. And you want to know which farms are going to be impacted further down the road? They're going to be safe for now. There's a small percentage of farmers who are actually Democrats, and they understand how important it is to protect their employees, take care of their employees. Those employees who feel safe will keep showing up for work because they know the owners have their backs, which says something about these other farms where the employees are like, I'm too scared to show up. Let me add this final thing. This is going to impact farmers. They're at risk of going out of business. Who's going to jump in? The federal government, to compensate them with our tax dollars. So now our tax dollars is going to be used to cover the bullshit leadership of this administration on top of the overwhelming increasing tax dollars being used by this administration to scare, to deport, to imprison people with brown skin. Like, our tax dollars are not helping everyday Americans at all. And this is just the beginning under Republican leadership. Share this video.
You want to get rid of illegal immigrants, quit eating. And that's for everybody. That's, nationwide. If you want to get rid of them, quit eating. That'll solve the problem.
But when only 5 pickers showed up this morning to harvest his sweet potatoes, farmer Keith Smith saw possible ruin, the loss of his $500,000 crop.
They're running scared because of this new law.
And you're in trouble.
I'm in trouble, bad trouble.
Smith's 200 acres need 20 pickers, mostly Mexican nationals.
There is not enough documented people here to supply that workforce.
Most of your workers are here illegally.
That's sure. If they got documentation, they got a better job working for me.
Fernando Aldeman, a Mexican national, has worked Smith's farm since 1992.
Everybody's just scared.
Yeah.
Now, are you here legally? No.
No.
So, are you scared?
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared,
Smith's pickers make about $100 a day. He supports immigration laws, just not this one that threatens his third-generation family.
So I just saw this video of this white man who's not MAGA, by the way, or at least he says he's not, but because he damn sure selling the look. But he says he has a fake account over on Twitter, And he joined this group of white farmers, and he's pretending to be MAGA just to see what they're talking about. So apparently they had this group chat or group call where the white MAGA farmers were upset and saying the only reason why they voted for Shitty Britches was because they thought the blacks didn't have jobs and the blacks would come back and work their fields. They thought they were going to get slavery back by voting for Shitty Britches. But they had been saying loud and proud with their chest that immigrants were taking their jobs. Yet, there are a couple of farms here in Texas that overnight lost 100% of their workforce. But immigrants was taking their jobs, right? Racism is expensive, huh?
All right.
It's Joe from Georgia, so this is news out of Texas. But folks, these are alarm bells ringing for the entire United States, and our government is not listening. Overnight, multiple farms in the state of Texas completely shut down. And the reason for this shutdown was because they have lost almost 100% of their workforce. Now, we know this is the result of the immigration raids and stricter enforcement, but the ripple effect is going to be felt all the way across this country. Now, you've got crops that are rotting in the fields. You have livestock that is not being attended to at all. And that takes a lot of personnel. And we're talking, so now we're getting every area of food to include meat. And the communities that surround these farms, those businesses and those people who depend on the income from these farms, it's creating disasters for small communities in Texas. Now, this is not stopping at Texas farms. This is going to end up all the way across America, especially in the breadbasket, the middle of the nation, because they have tons of immigrant help. But folks, the alarm bells are ringing. Your food on your plate is being affected. So you got to think about it. It won't be soon until either prices go ridiculously high or you just won't have any food to buy.
Well, thanks to the big orange gremlin looking motherfucker, multiple farms in Texas just shut down overnight. Why? Because ICE raids made nearly 100% of the workforce completely vanish. People ran, got detained, or flat out got scared to death and never came back. Dairy farms are in panic mode right now. Cows got to be milked every 8 hours. And guess what? Nobody's showing up to milk these fuckers, folks. This isn't some Texas problem either. This is happening across the entire nation. ICE isn't just out here enforcing some bullshit laws. They are actively crippling our food systems with fear and chaos. You want to talk about consequences? This ain't just about politics anymore, y'all. It's about what's on your table, what's in your fridge, or what's about to be missing from your fucking store. These Nimrods aren't saving America. They're starving it.
This is breaking news. Texas farmers are sounding the alarm on this tariff war. And in more breaking news, nobody cares. Yeah, I don't know if it's just me or maybe it's some of you too, but as far as farmers sounding the alarm, I don't care. I have to admit, I don't care at all, because the last time Donald Trump was president, 100,000 farmers across the country lost their farms. Yeah. So, overwhelmingly, farmers voted for this man again, knowing full well of his history the last time he was president. So, from me to you, farmers, I don't care. I don't care how bad things get for you. I don't care if you lose your farm. I don't care if you... I don't care. At least I don't care to hear about it. I really don't. Because this is exactly what you voted for. And you're going to get what you voted for. You're going to get 4 more years of Donald Trump not giving a damn about farmers whatsoever. So, Enjoy.
Hello, Americans who like to eat. I'm Linda, and I want to talk about empty grocery shelves. They are coming, and sooner than we think. There's a 3,000 per day immigrant detention quota. 40% of farm workers in the United States are undocumented. You do the math. Farms are an excellent place to find undocumented immigrants to detain and deport, depleting the workforce. And now, those who haven't been rounded up are afraid to show up. Let's look at just one state, Texas. According to farmers, this issue has been affecting their farms for a couple of weeks, but overnight, it bottomed out. On several Texas farms, nearly 100% of farm workers aren't showing up. So what does that mean for you? Remember Trump's comment about having $2 instead of 30? Cows are milked 3 times a day. No workers, no milk, and some very unhappy cows. What if your grocery store, instead of getting 30 gallons of milk, gets 2? 28 families will not be able to buy milk. Now extrapolate that among produce. Produce that instead of being harvested is rotting on the vine. Texas is one of the top 10 producers of 40 major commodities. It is the 4th largest agriculture producer in the nation and 2nd in animal products. And it's not just cows not being milked and produce rotting on the vine. 1 in 7 Texans works in an agriculture-related job. If farms stop working, those jobs are affected. Workers not earning money aren't paying taxes. And yes, undocumented workers pay taxes. Without money coming in, they will cut back on things like restaurants and small businesses, movie theaters, wherever they spend their discretionary income. Last week, Trump ordered a halt to immigration enforcement at farms. But it may already be too late to solve the current problem. The lack of workers now mean farms won't hit full production this year. And if they lose planting now, there is nothing to harvest later. Yet, despite Trump's assurances, a few days after his statement, the administration resumed the raids. Vance says the administration plans to continue clearing the country of undocumented immigrants. Quote, "We're enforcing everywhere. In other words, you ought to voluntarily go back and come through the proper channels," unquote. That can literally take years. And frankly, it doesn't protect you from being deported. In the meantime, the question remains, how long are you willing to go without food? Bye, Americans. Have a nice day.
Texas is continuing the F around and find out stage. Guess what just hit 0 before Donald Trump's approval rating? Right there. Farm labor attendance, 0. Entire fields, whole crews are ghosting fields, leaving fruits and vegetables to rot because the Donald Trump administration is too busy playing cat and mouse with people who just want to feed America. To the MAGA people who are saying that immigrants are taking your job, this right here is your opportunity. Pick yourselves up by the bootstraps, get those buckets, and pick those strawberries. No more hiding behind those welfare checks that are padded behind blue state dollars. You wanted the raids, you got them. Now get in those fields and pick those fruits and vegetables before you watch the produce aisle turn to a luxury boutique section. Chop chop, MAGA. And that's it.
So there's reports coming out right now about farms in Texas losing nearly 100% of their staff due to immigrant workers not turning up because of fear of the ICE raids. So let's talk about that. Texas farms generate around $32 billion a year in revenue for the state, huge, valuable, and there's around 100,000 and there's hundreds of thousands of farm workers in Texas. And around 20-30% of those are foreign born, and around 17% of those are undocumented. So there's a lot of immigrants and a substantial number of undocumented immigrants. Now, the ICE raids have caused people to stay at home because of the fear that they're going to get deported. This means that farms are losing their staff. Some areas have lost half their works overnight. That's halts milk operations and also means the herd isn't being tended to. But it's not 100% of staff because less than 30% are immigrants in the first place. So we need to clarify 2 points. First of all, it is an issue because farms require a lot of manual labour. And even if you're losing 10% of the staff, that's going to be a bigger impact, but it's not 100%. Now, the reason it's a problem right now is this harvest is going on right now. So it's the winter wheat harvest, so it's planted in winter, gets harvested now, and around 50% of wheat would be harvested right now. And it's a critical phase. That's not going to happen if the staff aren't there. You then got a lot of fruit being harvested right now: cantaloupes, watermelons, peaches, plums, blackberries. They're all being harvested right now in either central or northern Texas. And these delays could either cause a loss of the crop or a reduced quality and therefore reduced revenue for the farmers. So it's actually quite a big issue. There's also secondary effects. So hay and silage is having troubles being harvested. That means there's going to be a long tail impact because the lack of hay now is going to impact the feed supplies later on. You've also got problems with logistics, so haulage, delivery, and then food processing plants. So think about abattoirs, etc. If the immigrant workers don't turn up for that either, you're not going to be able to get the food processed even once it is going from the farm to the factory. So this is quite a big issue. Not 100% of staff, but it is a significant percentage of staff which is going to impact food supplies.
Should we dress up as ICE agents and help escort people, immigrants that are at their court hearings or court proceedings, and escort them home? I mean, it's easy to do. Who even knows if any of these ICE agents are even real ICE agents? We don't know. They don't show you their face. They don't show you anything. They don't show you any badge. They don't show you any ID. They don't have warrants from a judge. I mean, how hard would it be to impersonate an ICE agent? And who knows if these people that are snatching up people that are undocumented or even citizens, whether they're even truly ICE. You do not know that. But we could go and order the same clothes, order the same things, which maybe that's all what they've done. They're in unmarked cars. You don't even know they're an official car. You don't know any of these people are even legitimate. They may just be Proud Boys. They may just be a vigilante group. You don't know. But guess what? We could do the same thing, and you could escort people, give them a ride home, take them home, get them home safely, and you can make sure this is something that we could do to help people so that they are able to follow the law under the Constitution as they're doing, and Donald Trump and his team clearly are not. What do you think? Love to hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, my burned out light bulbs. Am I cray-cray, or what do you think? I don't know. I've seen this idea batted around, and I think it's something we could think about. Let me know what you think.
Down on illegal immigration is starting to affect the Texas agriculture industry. Some farmers say their workers are too scared to show up for work. Fox 4's Casey Stegall spoke with the Texas Agriculture Commissioner about the recent immigration raids. Casey.
Hey, Steve, good to see you. The state Republican Agriculture Commissioner tells me that the stepped-up immigration enforcement is taking a toll on the industry, not just here in Texas, but beyond, while federal immigration authorities say they're only doing their jobs. Just 40 miles or so south of the Dallas hustle and bustle.
Row crops, hay production.
Sits Lee Calvert's 2,000-acre Ellis County family farm.
My father helps me. Obviously, my little sister helps. My wife, huge help. I've got 3 sons, and they're coming along and doing what they can.
Calvert knows he's lucky not having to rely on farm hands to check the chores off, because those who do say absenteeism among hired migrant help has disrupted their entire operations.
They hear that ICE is coming, or they see somebody from INS roll up. Well, they just don't show up. They're scared to come to work.
Texas Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller tells Fox 4 dairy farmers have been hit the hardest.
But on a dairy, those cows, they never stay milked. You milk them 3 times in a 24-hour period. So if the crew doesn't show up, these dairymen go into panic mode.
Are you a U.S. citizen? We have documents to be here.
Recent video posted to immigration rights groups' social media channels shows federal agents conducting raids on California farms. President Trump in the last week briefly paused this type of enforcement within a handful of economic sectors which rely heavily on migrant labor, like agriculture. Then it was back to business.
we're enforcing everywhere. In other words, the president has said if you are an illegal immigrant into this country, you ought to voluntarily go back and come through the proper channels.
Folks like Lee Calvert agree there's no place in America for migrants with violent criminal backgrounds, but wishes there was more gray area.
And I think there needs to be a distinction made in a pathway for the people that do want to come here, obey our laws, integrate into our societies, work in our factories, fields, wherever.
So the U.S. Department of Agriculture estimates that more than 40% of the nation's farm workers are undocumented.
Welcome back. I'm going to start with the beginning from the Jamestown in 1619. I love going back to history. Oh my God. I love history because it's opening my mind and my eyes. I know a lot. I know a lot of things just because I go back to the archive. And that's why I tell everybody, I tell all my Black Americans, my Africans, Caribbeans, teach true history to your kids. Let not them be whitewashed. Let not them forget who we are as Black people. Teach the history. Protect the history of Black people. Now, Jamestown in 1619, enslaved Africans were forced to clear lands. Enslaved Africans were forced to tend fields and build the infrastructure of colonial America. When we talk about cotton, tobacco, rice, these were the cash crop that generated the capital that fueled the Industrial Revolution in the North and the wealth of European empires. That's 1619. Black hands laid the bricks of early American cities, Charleston, New Orleans, Richmond. They dug canals, dug railroads, and they mined the coal that powered factories. And every dollar in those founding, each dollar coffers traces back to the forced African labor. You see, that is history. And after Reconstruction, they came promised freedom, but sharecropping and convict leasing replaced slavery in all but name. Black farmers toiled for meager share of the harvest, while white landowners reaped the profits. The Black people were never given anything. The profit were never shared to Black people. The labor was like free labor. That's what our ancestors went through. That's what our ancestors went through, And it came Jim Crow. Jim Crow enforcement kept Black wages artificially low. Poor white and elite whites alike benefited from the labor tax imposed on Black bodies. And this dirty secret filled the treasuries of southern states and bankrolled northern industry. That is history. After that, it came a great migration. Millions of Black Americans left the South for factory jobs in Chicago, New York, Detroit, and Philadelphia. And they powered the booming auto industry, ammunition plants during world wars, and built skyscrapers. That is history. And without Black workers, the arsenal of democracy would have sputtered. Black state workers fueled the Rust Belt. Black railroads hands kept commerce flowing now. Imagine if that labor simply vanished overnight. Economic collapse. That labor vanished. There is no America. But backbone isn't just about labor. It is culture. It is innovation. Hip-hop, jazz, blues. Black people invented the soundtrack of modern America. The art of Black people is being sold in billions. The art of Black people drives tourism. The art of Black people shapes global youth culture. You are here from Africa. You want to go to the United States. When someone talks to you about the United States, you are happy. You think you are going to heaven, the land of milk and honey. What made you think that way is the white people. But what you are going to meet is the pure hands of Black Americans have built America. And yet you go there and maybe you try to disrespect them. When I talk about the art of Black culture, the art of Black people that has shaped the global culture, from George Washington, Carver's agricultural breakthrough, to Madam C.J. Walker's beauty empire, the unity of Black people, the labor of Black people has fueled entire industries. Without the creativity of Black Americans, without the creativity of Black people, America, soft power, will be non-existent. There could not be America. The empire could be ashes, just old towns. But Black people built it from the scratch. Black people build it. Remember the civil rights movement, the non-violent protest of black people, sit-ins, marches, black bravery tore down segregation and inspired legal reforms. That struggle stabilized the nation, preventing an eruptive, prolonged conflicts. When black community organize, they uplift neighborhoods. When black people organize, they demand accountability. When black people organize, they foster civic engagement. Without the pressure, crime would go unchecked. Without the pressure from black community, corruption will flourish. Without the protest or without the black people, social cohesion will fray. Now, that is back on the history. I love going back to the history. But coming back to nowadays, black consumer power is $1 trillion force: clothing, cosmetics, entertainment. Black people drive trends. White America Corporation are just after black people. The hip hop collaboration, black influencers, black buying power. So if you pull that spending power away and share prices slump, black-owned business anchor urban economies, when black people boycott that, what will happen? In schools and hospitals, public safety, and the service sectors, black professionals fill vital roles there. Teachers, nurses, police, firefighters. So, if black people stopped showing up, those institutions will collapse. White America are begging to get black police officers, black firefighters. They know the strength of black people. Even during the pandemic, black and brown people and essential workers risked their lives to keep supply chains moving. They stocked shelves, they delivered packages, they sanitized surfaces, all while white-collar America worked from home. You get that? I know you understand what I'm trying to talk about. So, what will happen if black people say it's enough? What will happen? Farms across the South are already struggling for labor manufacturing hubs, They can't find workers to run machines. Service industries face high turnover. Without black staff, operation grind to a halt. So businesses that ignored fair wages and decent conditions are now panicking, raising salaries because they must or they face the closure. When you see the white farmers, the Bresca and all this complaining because there's no people to work for them, it's because maybe black and brown people have decided, what? We're going to run our own things. We're going to start building our own. So when black people start building their own, that means they are going to stop working for the supremacy. They are going to stop to work for the white people. And we are only the people who can work for them because we are the people who have the knowledge, the innovations and inventions. Black-led boycotts over policies that affect people, police brutality and discrimination have forced corporate America to spend billions on PR campaigns. They scramble to rebrand, but it is too late. It is too late for empty gestures. Authentic diversity demands real power and equality. Corporate boards are shaking because they have depended on black consumers without sharing decision-making. Black voters decided the last 3 presidential elections in key states. It's the black voters that decided. So without black people mobilization, policies would swing radically to the far right. The social safety net, civil rights protection, and voting rights would all be under siege. Black people withdrawal from the polls will leave a vacuum that radical elements will fill, destabilizing democracy itself. The white farmers are now saying that maybe democracy is bad. No, it's because black people has left them alone. What happens if black people redirected their talent? What if we redirect our talent, our resources to our own communities? Imagine black professionals, entrepreneurs, artists building nations in Africa and the diaspora. What will happen? I know that is happening. It's already happening. Black Americans moving to Ghana and Kenya, investing in Pan-African infrastructure. And that's why there's a lot of tension and fear. Because black people have woke up and they have decided to go and build their own. Building Africa, building schools in Ghana, industries in Ghana, towns in Ghana, buying lands, going into farming, redirecting our black power to our own communities. As we build alternative centers of power, white America will feel the loss, not just economically, but cultural and political. Believe me on that. And that's why we all call for the unity, call for action. In each of my every video, I call for action of black people, not for revenge, but to unite. Because when we unite, that is the real power of black people. So today, I just said about the truth about black labor, creativity, and black leadership have been the backbone of America, okay? Without black people, the structure is crumbling. Without black people, the empire is no more. So it is time to claim our power as black people. Support black business, invest in our schools, vote in every election, build Pan-African alliances. That's what I want us to do, okay? Let's do that. But mostly, I want you to share this video, tag your friends. Let white America know that black people are no longer at your back, okay? Let white America know that when black people unite, they are the one to lose. Let's stop this thinking. We have been brainwashed that we cannot do anything without the white power. They have centered themselves in every of our old decisions. Let's make our own decision at once as black people, okay? Now, thank you for watching. If you are ready to step into your power, subscribe, hit the bell, and join the movement. You can join too to be the membership of the channel. It is helping me. I am the Kenyan Beast. Until next time, keep rising, keep uniting, and remember, our strength builds empires. And when we withdraw, those empires will shake. Until next episode, peace out.